Hi everybody, I hope you can all see me. It's going a bit slow, speeding up. Fantastic, long time no speak. I hope everyone is getting very excited for camps. I apologize that I'm speaking so softly, but my family is sleeping. It's late at night, so I'm going to be a little bit quieter than normal. But I hope you enjoy that soft, serenading, lulling, lullaby sound of my voice. I thought this week, or firstly, before I actually speak about what I want to speak about, because I know lots of you don't read your emails, but training has been moved from not the Sunday, next week Sunday has been moved from the Sunday to next week Thursday night. There's an amazing speaker. Her name's Elisa Boulot. She's going to run a training session for us. So please come along Thursday night at the school, in the junior school classrooms. And please let me know if you're not coming. I just need there might be some food and catering. So I'd like to just know who's coming. Cool. So this week I thought I'd speak about evolution. And not just evolution, speak about all those things that are problematic. And since I'm such a super brilliant genius, I'm just going to answer all of them. Dinosaurs, evolution, age of the universe. So anytime there's seemingly a contradiction between what the Torah says, so for example, the Torah says that a man was created on the sixth day, it doesn't seem to imply that there was a slow evolution of man, or that the world is 5,000 excuse me, got a little bit of cough, 5,700 years old. So according to modern day science, so the world's somewhere around 13 to 15 billion years old. Dinosaurs, so how could dinosaurs and fossils, they all seem to contradict what the Torah says, or the Torah's description of reality, will often not jive with science and biology and their description of reality. So how do you deal with that? So I'm not proposing that I have all the answers, but maybe just to share a few. So one of the classics, which doesn't sit well with any of us, including myself, is, for example, dinosaurs, or evolution. God created the world in that way to test us. Really, the world's 5,700 whatever years old, 5,770, and Hashem planted dinosaur bones in a way that would challenge our emunah, our belief in Him. And I know you're probably laughing at home, but I'm sharing this with you because it's an approach. So that's what some people believe. And how do they deal with science? They say science is wrong. And science has been wrong in the past, and they use the word, it's scientific theory, it's not fact. But it's a little bit difficult because at the end of the day, these theories put people on, send people to the moon, and they're working theories. It's not just scientific theory. It doesn't mean something that you can just reject because it's not real. Often the theories are backed up by a lot of proof. For example, in the case of age of the universe, so they carbon date things, and the carbon has a certain lifespan, and they work it out scientifically. Fine, good. So the other approach, and I'm going to quote a verse. So this verse is in Bereshit, in the first book of creation, and it's in chapter number 2, verse 4. In verse 4 it says, Eile toldos hashamayim v'aretz. These are the products of the heaven and the earth. Behibaram, when Hashem created them. Beyoim asos Hashem elokim eretz v'shamayim. On the day that Hashem created everything, basically, heaven, earth, everything that was created. It makes it sound, this verse makes it sound like everything was really created on one day. The implication of the verse. And Rashi, just bear in mind, Rashi lived a long time ago, well over 1,000 years before evolution or age of universe was even an issue. And that's what he says. He quotes a midrash, the oral law, and it says that really the world was created in one day. Everything. and the 7 days of creation, things were fixed in their place. And Rashi says that the whole system only started working in its entirety on day 7, on Shabbos. So, to back Rashi up, just a simple question, right? So, when was the moon and the sun created? Moon and sun was created on day 4. So, we know how we measure time, 24-hour day, often through the sun, the moon, those types of things. So if there was no sun, there was no moon, how do you measure a day? How does time get measured? It's an interesting question. That was only created on day 4. So before that, seemingly, days of creation would be, who knows? Who knows how long? But now what we're adding to the mix is that the days of creation only actually started functioning properly on day 7, right? All the things that were, not days of creation, sorry, all the things that Hashem created only started functioning on day 7. So that means the sun, the moon, the stars, everything, flowers, animals. So essentially, that would mean that creation days could be not one day long, but millions upon billions of days long. It's very difficult to measure time without a functioning sun, moon, stars, light, etc. So that would be one approach which really would allow for all concepts to exist. Concepts like age of the universe, no longer a problem. Dinosaurs, there could have been, multiple systems that have come and gone. And in fact, that actually mirrors a lot of the Kabbalistic teachings that we have, which I haven't seen them inside, just seen them quoted, that according to Kabbalah, the world was created and recreated many, many times, and it actually gives time periods, it works out apparently pretty close to 15 billion. True or not, I don't know, I haven't seen it inside myself, just quoting things I've heard other people quote that they probably haven't seen themselves, and they're quoting a quote of a quote of a quote of a quote, but nevertheless, that's what people say. In summary, really what I think you can take out of this is as follows. I have a little bit of a question on, nothing's as simple as it seems. We just accept evolution. You're allowed to ask questions in evolution. There are a lot of issues with evolution. I myself, if you ask me what I believe, so I'm not 100% clear. It doesn't really challenge my faith either way, which way is true or not, because I think the whole Chumash in and of itself is it's not there to teach us history, it's there to teach us character traits. That's what Rav Kook says. It's not it's not there to teach us the details of how the world was created. It's the why. It's about infusing meaning into every breath that we take. That's really the function of the Torah. And the Ramban, who also lived over 1,000 years ago, before evolution, all these things, he says explicitly that we can't really understand creation. It's a bewildering why Hashem even included it in the Torah, and seemingly the only reason it's there is to teach us moral lessons. So that's point number 1 to bear in mind, or point number 2, or point number 3. I don't know. I've got ADD, so I've just gone from one point to another point, and I don't remember where I was. And I think the important thing is to have an open mind, a thinking mind. By way of an example, my own issues with evolution. So the way evolutionary theory works is that it also needs a God. It has complete gaping holes in how one thing transfers from a particular species to another. For example, giraffes, why do they have long necks? So there's different concepts called natural selection, survival of the fittest. So you have, the classic way of understanding it, I'm simplifying a little bit, there's trees that were high up, animals, were starving to death. They needed to be able to grow long necks to survive, and there were anomalies in the whatever they were, zebra type looking animals, anomalies that they would give birth to an animal that was slightly longer neck, was by fluke, by chance, and then obviously the other animals would die out because only this animal would have the ability to maybe reach a little bit of the the food on the top of the trees, and so on and so forth. It's very strange if you think about it. Like there's an animal that needs to have a long neck, so it grows a long neck. Sounds completely weird, but that's really what it comes down to. And of course, there's a slow process, and it happens, and there's these anomalies, and there's fancy words that cover up the fact that there are things that don't make sense when anything in life that you, in the same way that a scientist will nitpick at religion and at God, and how does that make sense, and how you can do the same, in my experience, speaking to very knowledgeable scientists and biologists and people that even Mrs. Jackson wasn't able to answer all my questions. I think you feel like you lack knowledge and the person knows more than you, so you accept their opinions, which I don't think is necessary. I don't throw away my brain ever. Try not to. And yeah, I'd love your comments, responses. Scream at me, say, Rabbi, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And yeah, thanks for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos. There's Youth Minyan this week. Hopefully, if there are enough of you back from your world holidays. Thanks for tuning in, and a good Shabbos.